Welcome back out to Donnell Stadium, getting ready for the kickoff of this one, about 3 minutes away on that. We also want to talk a little bit more about that defense as the captains for each side are heading out to do the coin toss, and looks like they have a special guest out there to help out with the coin toss for the Oilers here today. I think sometimes what gets lost in the numbers is, first off, the Oilers have managed to get the stops when they need them to come up with 2 wins in a row, but you also see the growth of some players. Greg Bransford, who's moved into that linebacker spot, had another outstanding game last week, 14 tackles, including 1.5 for loss. Irvin Basenji, who is continuing his great spring season, he had another good day, 4 tackles overall, but 2.5 tackles for loss for the Oilers, plus, and that being both of them on sacks. Reggie Michaud continuing to grow and improve as things go along here as well. And so this defense, I think, is just a couple of plays away from really turning things around. And I think, as Rob Keyes often says, if they can start to force a few more turnovers, they can really get things going in their way. Coin toss was won by Lindenwood. They have deferred to the second half, so we'll be seeing that Oiler offense first, and let's go ahead and set that offense. Oilers across that offensive line from left tackle to right. Logan Bailey, the 6'6", 325-pound senior out of Defiance, Ohio, first-team GMAC 3 times for Logan. He'll be joined to his inside by Ben Farrar out of Apple Creek, Ohio. He was a first-team All-GMAC in last year's spring season. Matt Iliff, the center, 6'4", 298, a sophomore. He was second-team All-GMAC last year. The freshman in that group, the only guy who doesn't have some kind of accolade next to his name, but I got a feeling he's going to have a few before it's said and done. Number 73, Brennan Davies, the 6'3", 336-pound freshman out of Lafayette, Ohio. And then the right tackle, Michael Jarrell, 6'5", 294-pound junior out of Indianapolis, Indiana, the first-team All-GMAC performer last year as well. The quarterback, Matt Winslow, we talked about him already, just a junior, 6'2", 200-pounder, redshirt, of course, out of Toledo, and then ASA Miami. We talked about his record watch that we have for him. His wideouts include Marlon Richardson, Jake Brown. We'll also see a steady diet of Aiden Eubanks and Mike Riggerman in that fullback tight end role. The Derek Lynch will open as the tailback, but expect to see a lot of Garrett Clark back there as well. Meanwhile, for Lindenwood across that front, Moses Ale, Tavian Weary, Dwight Dantzler, and Arsante Connors. The 3 linebackers, C.J. McClure, Drew Sears, and Andrew Rodriguez. Watch out for Sears. This guy's a first-team All-American, and he was the GLVC's Defensive Player of the Year a year ago. He gets everywhere out there. He's also joined by Andrew Rodriguez. The safeties are Lockett and Daniels, and on the corner, Keith Beverly and Jordan Perry. Ready to get things kicked off here. Lindenwood wearing the visiting whites, Findlay in the homestanding blacks. High kickoff fielded at the 6 on the far side. Brought to the middle, looking to get the corner turned, and will be brought down as he crosses the 15 and at the 16-yard line. That's where the Oilers will go 1st and 10. Aiden Eubanks on the return for the Oilers there. And we'll see this offense, which has, it's been a little bit on the run-heavy side, but it's hard to argue with the results. Over 300 rushing yards last week and also 2 weeks ago against UNC Pembroke. 2 receivers to the top, single receiver on the near side. Bring that inside receiver in motion, throw a quick out on the near side. It is complete. And then forced out of bounds out here on the near side as he hooks up with Ruben Flowers. Ruben worked his way into the starting lineup. Pickup of 9, 2nd and 1 coming up for the Oilers. So a little change up there right off the bat. Ruben not initially labeled in the tube deep, but he'll open up, be wide here on the near side. 2 receivers to the left. That's the wide side of the field. Back to the right, bring that inside receiver in motion. The give in the middle, started it there, and then bounced it outside. Lowers the shoulder. I believe that was Clark. Nope, that was not Clark. Changing things up, that was Booker on the carry. Out of Sarasota, Florida. Not a big gain, but enough to get the first down and an extra yard. 1st and 10 for the Oilers as we're coming up on a minute into this opening quarter. First drive of the game for either team. Oilers will go trips all to the left of Winsler. Has the back on his left hip as well. takes a snap to give up the middle and drives it across the 30 out to the 32. Pick up a 4, 2nd and 6 coming up. That defensive front from left to right for them goes 255 for Ale, 270 for Weary, 270 for Dantzler, and 235 on the other side. So a lot of beef up there. And then add to that very active Drew Sears, senior linebacker out of St. Louis. Oilers go 3 left, 1 to the right. Handoff. That's going to be Clark. Not much there, maybe a yard. Going to bring up a 3rd down and 5 for the Oilers, who are showing patience here offensively to start the game. Got a few fans from Lindenwood who made the trip over from the St. Louis area. They're getting a little fired up as their defense implores them to get involved. Oilers bring 2 out to the near side, 3 out to the top. Empty backfield set with 5 receivers here for Findlay. Winsler takes the snap, steps up, has time, complete. 1st down and more. Finds Jake Brown, who took it up and across the field. And a perfect strike by Winsler moves the sticks for an Oiler 1st down. Talk about these two teams. Findlay at 2-1. Lindenwood at 1-2. Oilers averaging 36 points a game. Lindenwood 27. Oilers giving up 41. Lindenwood giving up 42. So statistically, very similar teams. They just do it a couple of different ways. 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Throw it to the back out of the backfield. And nothing there. Lindenwood read that and read that well. Went to Derek Lynch out of the backfield. He was lined up on Winsler's right and went flaring out the backside, but Lindenwood stayed at home and held it to no gain. Check Mike Riggerman into the lineup. Mike, a very strong blocker, but also a dangerous receiving target as well. Last time we were in this stadium, had that touchdown late in the overtime to post the victory. 2 to the right, plus a slot man, single receiver up top. Winsler back, flushed. Throws it out in the flat, finds Clark. Clark's got 1st down yardage and more as he takes it into Lindenwood territory. And kind of a dicey hit here on the sideline by the defender. As Kai Ross comes across there, but nothing by the official as far as flags. But most importantly, it's a 1st down for the Oilers. Nicely drawn up, nicely executed on the passing game that time by Findlay. Very workmanlike effort here down the field. Send 2 receivers to the top, put a tight end on the right end of the line, that blocking fullback up and to the left, and the running back on that same side. Handoff goes there, hurdles through the line and pushes it inside the 35, down near the 34. Ross again in on the stop. That was Benson on the carry. As we're seeing the full stable of running backs here on this opening drive. 7-yard pickup, 2nd and 3 for the Oilers. They're going to put Ruben Flowers out here on the right by himself, string 2 receivers to the left. Close to procedure, but no flag by the officials. Handoff goes up the middle, and a good strong push out to the 30-yard line, and another 1st down for the Oilers. That was Benson again on the carry. Right now, Corey Allen peppering in the run and the pass with a nice bit of balance. And the Oilers have it at the Lindenwood 30 here on the opening drive. Clock running, 9:40 left. 2 receivers to the left, put Eubanks up to the right, and a back behind to the left. That looks like Booker. Gets the handoff, does Booker. Bursts through, breaks a couple of tackles inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line. Nice runoff. Coach Keys told me a couple weeks ago, when you see a healthy Corey Booker and we get in his hands, you're going to see a freak athlete. And I saw that freak athlete there with some speed. He burst through that line. and broke a couple of tackles on the way. And the Oilers, I like to call it the green zone. 2 receivers to the right. It's like Richardson and Flowers. Handoff again, Clark. This time he's going to be overwhelmed for a loss back at the 20. That is designed to go inside. He tried to bounce it outside, and Lindenwood was waiting for him. Substitution. Check in Garrett Clark. Oilers looking at a 2nd down and 12 here as the field shrinks a little bit. Richardson to the right, Flowers out to the left. Riggerman on the right end of the line. Eubanks up as a blocking fullback. Fakes the give to Clark, throws end zone and tied up there, and we're going to get a flag coming in late. But it came from the sideline. Yep, ineligible downfield. They waited to see whether he threw it or not, and that was a read, I believe, for Winsler. And he decided to pull it out. Let's see how Lindenwood decides to play this one. Do they want to give him back the down or nope, they're going to decline it. So they're going to keep it at 3rd and 12 for the Oilers.
Penalty is declined, 3rd down.
So Farrar got a little bit too far down the field, says the official. It's one of the dangers of those read pass options. 2 receivers both to the right are Flowers and Richardson. The give, Oilers hand it off and spinning his way inside the 10, close to a 1st down but not quite there, is Josh Booker. And you wonder if the Oilers were thinking 4 downs here or thinking field goal, and it looks like the field goal unit might be heading out. And there they come. So ball is spotted, or the line of scrimmage is going to be the 11. This will be spotted down at about the 18, so about a 28-yard attempt here for Snyder. Oilers looking to draw first blood here. Wind is a little bit at his back and going from his right to his left. Spot is down. The kick is up. It certainly got the distance. And the officials say, yes, it is up and good, high above the uprights. And the Oilers draw first blood 3-0 over the Lindenwood Lions. We'll be back in a moment on 88.3 WLFC.
Student athletes die each year of sudden cardiac death during athletic activities.
The facts are that immediate delivery of CPR and AED saves lives, so everyone should be CPR and AED trained. Please join us in this important initiative. Make it yours.
You might be surprised at how much money is in the walls of this old house. With a Union Bank Home Equity Line of Credit, the equity from your home can be used for whatever you need. College tuition, paying off those credit cards, even home improvement. And there are no closing costs. Best of all, you work with Union Bank loan professionals right here in your hometown. Go to theubank.com for details. Thanks. Union Bank, your community bank.
Welcome back out. Oilers kicking it away after the field goal by Snyder, and the kickoff is going to sail through the end zone. As we mentioned, had the wind bit at the back there and just kicked it out and through. That'll bring it out where it'll start things for Lindenwood. 4 plays, 73 yards, that drive for Findlay that caps off with the field goal by Snyder, and Findlay in front 3-0. Two receivers to the left, one to the right. And the handoff goes to the right side, and tripped up right at the point of attack was Nash Sutherland. Sutherland comes in with 40 carries, 150 yards on the season, and a couple of touchdowns. Picks up about 2 around the right side. Brings up a 2nd down and 8. We talked about the quarterback, 6 foot, 220-pound junior out of O'Fallon, Missouri. He'll open up in the pistol, has a back to his left, 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. The give again to Sutherland. Sutherland finds a seam and avoids a would-be tackler in the hole and gets a 1st down out across the 35. A big offensive line open up some space. Talk about them. In the middle, Connor Mazzata, a 5'11", 255-pounder. Logan Wright to his left, 6'3", 270. Asa Baker, 6'1", 290. We'll hit the other 2 tackles here in just a moment. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. And they check off to the line. 6'3", 275-pound freshman on the right tackle. 6'3", 290 junior on the left. Play action fake. Rolls out, throws, man wide open, and rips him down after about 11 or 12-yard pickup. On the stop for Findlay was Brennan Perry, but not before a 1st down across the 45 and out to the Lions 47. Bring 2 receivers to each side this time for Brister. Brings that inside receiver on the top in motion. 3 to the left, 1 to the right. You hand it off. And bouncing it to the right side, that was Sutherland again. He has it out near the midfield stripe. Pickup of 3, 2nd and 7. Jackson and Perry on the stop. And, of course, you don't like to see your defensive backs have to be making a lot of tackles in the run game. That means guys are getting downfield. 2 receivers in a slot to the left. Single receiver on the top of the formation. Give it again to Sutherland. Started it right. Oilers had that shut down. He bounces it left, and he still fights through. Was initially stopped shy of the 1st down, but second effort allowed him to burst through. 5'9", 195, but I got to tell you, he looks bigger than that and plays bigger than that. In Oiler territory at the 43 with a 1st down. Oilers up 3-0, but Lindenwood looking to answer back, and while we expected it to be a passing show, it's actually being done here early on against the run. 2 to the right, 2 to the left are the receivers. Sutherland still in to the left. Play action, throw it out here in the flat, complete. And that's what they do. It's not a vertical down the field game. It's more of a surgical passing attack that Brister oversees. Pickup of 8. Kyle Nunn in on the stop for Findlay, the Findlay High School product by way of University of Pittsburgh. 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Brister's going to check it off and change the play. Everyone with a check with me on the sideline now steps back into place. Keep it twin receivers on either side. Sutherland on his right hip. Take it out of the belly of Sutherland. Will take it himself. It's going to be close to a 1st down. And the official now says, yes, it is. He was standing inside of the 1st down marker, but signaled 1st down. At the Oiler 33-yard line. Two receivers to each side, back behind Brister this time in that pistol formation. Fake the give, wants to go in the middle, throws the middle screen to Sutherland. He makes a juke move, forces Perry to miss, bounces it outside, works his way up the sideline, inside the 15 and down to about the 13. Another Lindenwood 1st down. So 1st and 10. At the Oiler 13. Two receivers left. Slot and a receiver to the right. Again, Sutherland behind. He'll get the handoff up the middle, huge hole, and burrows his way all the way down to the Oiler 5. Just shy of the 1st down, 2nd and 1 coming up. Second down here, 3:13 on the running clock. Oilers up 3-0, but Lindenwood threatening to change that. Give it to Sutherland, and he made a nice little spin move right at the point of attack and then took it to his right to get the first down and take it to the Oiler 2. So 1st and goal coming up for the Lions. They go right back at it real quick, hand it to Sutherland, and the Oilers up to the challenge on 1st down. Maybe a yard, but not much more, and Sutherland got thrown back kind of unceremoniously that time. Brancefort, who we talked about in the pregame, really elevating his game. He's led the Oilers in tackles the last couple weeks. Strong effort for the young man out of Pickerington. 2nd and goal. 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Oilers playing a little press on the outside. Hand off to Sutherland again. And again, the Oilers stiff in the middle. Call that no gain. Brings up a 3rd and goal. Branceford again. Does have it down to the 1, though. Let's see if the quarterback keeps here on some kind of fake action, play action. 2 receivers to each side. Has Sutherland to his left. Surveys the situation, makes a signal out to his receiver on the right. Play action, throws across the middle. No. He was out of bounds on the backside. It was a well-run route. Looked a lot like what the Oilers try to do with Riggerman at times as he went out and then drag across the back of the end zone, but he was well out of bounds and had a defender right there to make sure he was out of bounds. So now a 4th and goal from that 1 yard line for the Lions. And decision time for head coach Jed Stugart. And he's going to play on 4th and goal from the 1. Trips to the right, single receiver to the left. And the Oilers want to talk it over, and I think that's a good choice by Findlay. As they changed up the package, we'll take a 30-second timeout back after this on WLFC.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Oh, thank you. Yep. Welcome back out to Donnell Stadium. Oilers took the opening kickoff, went down the field, got a 27-yard field goal from Austin Snyder. Lindenwood was driving the ball effectively straight down the field, but once inside the 5, the Oiler defense has gotten stingy and have them currently sitting at a 4th and goal situation from about the 1.5 yard line. They are electing to go. They're going to go 3 receivers to the right with Lindenwood. They'll move Sutherland into the inside of 2 receivers to the left. Empty backfield. Now bring Sutherland in motion into the backfield. No, they'll give it to him. Did he get in? No signal either way. And they say no, he didn't get in. Oilers stand up to the charge. Looked like Basinci might have been in there along with others. Somebody, I think, cut in, and it might have been Irvin, and kind of took his legs out from underneath him in the backfield, and he kind of slingshotted forward, but was short of the goal line. So the Oiler defense, we talked about it, coming up with big stops when they need it. That's one of them there. But now the offense, with very little margin for errors, got to get something going here as well to get out of the shadow of their own goalposts here. Minute 37 left here. Findlay's lead stays intact at 3-0. Two receivers out to the left. Always tried to get a hard count jump there. No luck. Trying to see if they can get a little extra yardage here. Flop the back, put him to the other side. That was Booker. And gets the handoff and gets a little bit of space on the outside as Booker got the left corner turned. And a little bit of operating room here now for the Oilers, but still inside their own 5. Second down and 7. Bring Flowers and Richardson out to the near side. Looks like Booker's going to stay in the backfield. Eubanks the blocking fullback. Oh, the Oilers have a personnel problem here. They're not sure. Now Riggerman goes to the left end of the line. Started it to the left, bounces it back to the near side, does Booker. Gets it across the 5 and out near the 7-yard line. It's going to bring up a third down at about 4 for Findlay. Bring in Clark now on third. Call it third down and 4 here. Oilers go 5 receivers set here. 3 to the near side, 2 to the top. Oilers having a little trouble getting everybody where they need to be here, but now are set. Back. Wensler, complete, first down, and he was a jersey tackle away was Derek Lynch from taking that the distance. Most importantly, a first down for the Oilers out to about the 16-yard line. And that is going to be the end of the first quarter, an exciting first quarter that has the Oilers on top 3-0. Back in a moment on 88.3 WLFC.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
I knew that there was an opportunity to have my college paid for if I was good enough to play baseball at that level. That was going to make a big difference in my family. D2 baseball gave me an opportunity to play at a high level and to get an education that's going to be valuable for me throughout the rest of my life. I chose to take my experience of being a student athlete and pursue that within my career and to get a master's degree. If I wouldn't have had a baseball scholarship, there'd be no chance that I'm doing what I'm doing today.
Welcome back out to Donnell Stadium. Oilers with 1st and 10 from their own 16-yard line as we start the second quarter. Wensler going through the progressions. Now he rolls out, looks, throws it, and throws it away. Good coverage downfield by Lindenwood, and a good job by Matt to avoid any damage there. Take a look at some of those first quarter stats. Each team with 6 first downs. 36 rushing yards for Lindenwood on 10 carries. Oilers 45 on 10 carries. Total offense, 14 plays, 74 yards for the Lions. 16 plays, 88 yards for the Oilers. And the Oilers controlling the time of possession in that first quarter. A little over 9 minutes to just under 6. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left for Wensler with it back to his side. Delay handoff, counter run, has a seam, breaks a tackle across the 25, cuts it back towards the middle, driving his way across the 30 and out to the 32. Good hard running even after contact that time by Garrett Clark. Gets another Oiler first down. And now into the part of the field where you can really open up your playbook and do whatever you like. Two to the right, 1 to the left are the receivers. Give. Finds a seam, bursts forward, breaks 2-3 tackles, and drives it all the way out to the 45. And that's Booker again, as the Oilers keep on running different backs through there. And the Oilers have it out for another Oiler first down at the 45. Booker looked very strong there, breaking and running through 3 different Lions tackles. A couple of those defensive linemen looking a little gassed. 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Play action, looking, Throws up the near side. Did Flowers hold on? No, not able to hold on to it. Sort of a back shoulder throw that time for Rubin. He had double coverage there, not quite able to go all the way to the ground and hold on. Good effort, though. 2nd and 10, and you certainly like the way the Oilers trying to stretch the field here a little bit. Second down and 10. Again, 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Receiver on the right hip of Winsler. And this is going to get timeout. Lindenwood didn't like the matchups they had. Oilers lead it 3-0 with 13:40 left in the second quarter. We'll be back with more after this on 88.3 WLFC.
Each other. Why do you want to go to college? To become something more? To find your line and go beyond it? To make someone's life better? To start on a path to a productive career? That's why the University of Findlay is here. Since 1882, a community of passionate learners, inspiring the best in each other.
Oilers have the 3-0 lead after taking the opening kickoff, driving it down, getting the 27-yard field goal from Austin Snyder. Then the Oiler defense with a stop on 4th and goal from the Oiler 1 and have been moving it since then. Two receivers to the right for Winsler. Delay handoff. This is Lynch. Starts at middle, bounces it back out, and just lost his footing. But a first down for the Oilers in Lindenwood territory. So Oilers have 1st and 10 at the Lindenwood 45. Two receivers to the right, 1 to the left for the Findlay this time. Blocking back up in front. Hand off to Benson. And Benson tests the middle. Takes it to the 42. Picks up 3, 2nd and 7 coming up for the Oilers. Oilers taking their time here. Play just now getting in. And they'll break the huddle with 14 on the play clock. Two receivers right, single receiver to the left. Winsler straight drop, pump fakes, pumps again, throws, and was looking for Rubin. And here comes it's going to at the very least be defensive holding. You can see where he pulled the jersey up over Rubin's shoulder pads there. An easy call for the official. And we'll see whether it's going to be holding or pass interference depending on when it happened in regards to the break and the release of the throw. It's going to be defensive holding. So 5 yards and an automatic first down. First and 10 for the Oilers. Remember, this drive started at their own 1 after a huge stop on 4th and goal from their own 1. 2 to the right. Put the blocking back on that side as well. That's Eubanks. Handoff up the middle. Literally hurdling the line that time was Booker. And pushes it forward to the 27. Pickup of about 5. 2nd and 5 coming for the Oilers. This offensive line really starting to assert itself out there. Oilers again taking their time here. They're going to send Marlon Richardson out to the right. Ruben Flowers to the left. Eubanks is sort of a deep slot on this near side. Now he'll come in motion across. Handoff Booker, and he just drives the defender back like a tackling dummy. They're going to spot him at the 25. Pickup of about 2, but a hard-fought 2. Brings up a third and call it 3. Oilers go 2 to the right for the receivers. Handoff again, Booker. Had initial contact in the backfield. Pushed it forward. It's going to be shy of a first down by about 1.5 yards. The Lions got some penetration in the backfield and forced Booker to take that out wide, and that allowed the rest of the defense to pursue. Jake Brown checks into the lineup. And looking to the sideline is Winsler. Oilers going to let this go down a little bit and then take a timeout and talk it over. We're going to take it with them. It'll be 4th and about 2 when we return deep in Lindenwood territory. Back in a moment on WLFC.
As Division II student athletes, we are committed to being our best.
Division II National SAC is proud to partner with the Sports Science Institute to play a role in the cardiac safety and health of student athletes.
Although many student athletes with heart conditions live healthy, active lives, up to 10 NCAA student athletes die each year of sudden cardiac death during athletics.
Gigantic stop on 4th and goal from their own 1, and then have been driving it pretty consistently since. They'll have Garrett Clark in the backfield with Winsler to his immediate left. Flowers out to the right. Lynch to the left. Slot Eubanks on the near side as well. And a tight end Riggerman on the left end of that line. Bring Lynch in motion across. Drop, steps up, batted down at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. And so after the Oilers force the turnover on downs, Lindenwood able to accomplish the same. One of those big linemen got a hand up. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it was Dwight Dantzler out of Rancho Cucamonga, California, got that paw up. And so each defense comes up with a big stop in its own territory. And we stay at 3-0 with 10:03 left here in the first half. Send 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the near side. Back. Throws it out here on the near side, complete. And that's the kind of passing game we expect from the Lions with Cade Brister, is that quick little surgical outs going back and forth, little drags, little quick slants. Picks up 9 yards there on that first one of this drive. Two to the left, 1 to the near side. Fake the handoff to him on the jet. Hand it off to Sutherland, bounces it outside. Has running room up the southern line and finally forced out of bounds. They say he steps out at his own 48. That's where it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Lions. Lindenwood thought they had it farther up the field, but the side judge here marked it at, he stepped out at the 48. 2 to the top, 2 to the near side. Brister back, has some pressure in his face, lets it fly. Oh, probably should have been picked off. Golden opportunity for the Oilers for Marquise Stokes, but I think he got bumped by the receiver and also by one of his other defenders working back. Brister kind of threw that up as a jump ball, and he almost paid the price for it. But good pressure created that opportunity. See if the Oilers can create another one here. So it's 2nd and 10. Brister the give to Sutherland, and he'll be submarined after a short pickup. He gets it right to the midfield stripe. Logan Spire in on the stop for Findlay. Two receivers to each side for Brister this time. Keeps Sutherland into his right. Oilers show pressure on the near side, but then the check off. Coach Reb, defensive coordinator, changing up his formation as he calls out to his charges. Stay with the two receivers to each side, Will Lindenwood. Straight drop, has time. Now it's going to be flushed from the pocket. Finds a lot of room. Bounces it out to the near side. It's going to have first down yardage and a little bit more. Out to the Oiler 39-yard line is where they're going to spot this. Now they'll actually spot him to the 38. Good improvisation. He doesn't run a lot, but he is athletic enough to be effective. .47 attempts, 116 yards, and he has 6 rushing touchdowns. Sutherland, and the Oilers have made some adjustments on this running game of Lindenwood, or at least the traditional running game. And that's going to be stopped for a 1-yard loss. Called for a tackle for loss. And leading the charge that time, I believe, was Watson maybe. But a good swarming attack on the front. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Bring this near side receiver in motion. Back to pass, flushed, and throws it. Did he catch it? And they say yes, he caught it at 35. Another one of those were kind of running backwards. He kind of flipped it, and his receiver came back and made a strong play. That was Clint Sigg, the senior tight end. Sigg comes out to the near side along with Tyler Chandler. 2 receivers go out to the top. Sutherland stays in the backfield. Check with me on the sideline. 3rd down and 7. Big down here for the Oilers. They can force Lindenwood into some tough decisions perhaps. Long look at it. Didn't get that off. Delay a game. Brister kind of took an extra second after he had his play, and it cost him. And now turn this into 3rd and about 12. So that time a little too casual by the junior signal caller. They'll change out the tight end for the extra wideout. As Sigg goes out and Spencer Red comes in. 3 receivers to the left, single on the right. Back, pressured, rolling, looking, and dropped. I'll let the statisticians decide whether it's a sack or if he got past the line of scrimmage, because it was right near it. Great job of chasing him down. That was Colin Robertson, the linebacker, who's chased him all the way across the field. And they're going to spot it as a 4th and 13, so count that as a sack for Robertson. And the loss of 1 and forces the punt unit on. So Marlon Richardson back to field the kick. Booms it. Oilers are going to let it go. And it's going to go into the end zone for the touchback. And that'll bring it out to the 20. And we'll see the Oiler offense go back out there. So looking at the numbers, I think everybody was expecting a big offensive explosion here between these two teams, but both defenses have come up with some big stops when they need it, and we're limited here with just 5:26 left in the first half to just 3 points. Oilers on top, 3-0. Took that opening drive down the field, got a 27-yard field goal by Snyder. Oilers 138 yards of total offense here in the half to 114 for the Lions. Play action, quick throw, Flowers complete, but hit almost immediately after a short pickup of maybe 3. 2nd and 7 coming up. You got to expect the Oilers at some point are going to branch off that, do the pump and go or something. Two receivers to the left, single receiver to the right. Back on either side of Winsler. Fake the give, and now he's going to, and I think that might have been a broken play. I think Winsler wanted to give that, but neither back was looking for it. So Matt just kind of ran behind them and picked up a couple of yards. Sets up a 3rd down and 5 situation. Clark is going to check into the backfield. He'll be there with Lynch. Oilers will have Jake Brown out here on the near side, along with Austin Watt as a receiver. Now put Clark out of the backfield. Throws it, tried to lead Lynch, who went and lined up on the outside there. A little too far ahead, and the Oilers will go 3 and out, have to punt this one away. So Snyder on to punt it. One man back around his own 40 looking to field this. The wind a little bit in Snyder's face. High snap, he got it down. Good effort by Snyder just to get a hold of it. Fair catch is going to be called. Bobbled! Loose ball, who's got it? I think one of the Lions who was right there was able to pounce on it. Now they can't advance it. But boy, Lions living dangerously there. Return man called for the fair catch, and it went off of his chest, bounced straight up in the air. And one of the other Lions managed to surgically pop in and grab the football. So the Oiler defense called on again with 3:52 left here in the half. Hoping to hold on to that 3-0 lead. Maybe give the offense one more chance. Keep in mind, the Lions will get the second half kickoff. 2 to the near side, 1 up top. Handoff. And not much there. We talked about it earlier. Other than that opening drive, this Oiler defense has solved something in that running game that was finding some pretty big seams in that first drive. Since then, Oilers have been very stingy against the run. Call it no gain, 2nd and 10 still. Bring 3 receivers, including the tight end, out here to the right. Single receiver on the top of the formation. That's the short side of the field. High snap. Brister back. Now he's going to be flushed, and he's going to run. Got a flag. This is coming back on a hold. They're going to get that big tackle, Ethan Johnson, the freshman. He had a handful of an Oiler and pulled him down. And I believe it was McCluckey who got hauled down in that process. So turn this into 2nd down and 20 after the step off. Now, keep in mind, the Oilers only have one timeout remaining, but depending on how this down goes, they might want to be strategic with it. Clock running, 3:08. 2nd and 20 coming up here. Again, 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Back to the left of Brister. Quarterback draw up the middle, finding some running room. He's going to get back what was lost, plus a couple of extras. He's going to get just shy of the 40. Actually, they're going to spot his knee down at about the 38. So pick up about 11. Trombetti on the stop. And a 3rd and 9 coming up for the Lions. Clock continues to run, 2:33. Well, let's get a stop here. They may burn that timeout. 2 receivers each direction. Brister, play action, has time, throws, and almost intercepted again. Oilers cut down in front of that. And trying to see that Oiler. Yeah, Jeremiah Jackson was the one who went down and got a piece of it to keep it from getting through to Fadul. Brings on the punting situation. Incompletion stops the clock at 2:19. Richardson goes back and standing around his 15. Wind at the back of the punter. Hangs it high and along the sideline. Takes a big hop, but hop out of bounds. And it'll be spotted out at about the Oiler 22-yard line. And the Oilers are going to have 2:12 left here in the half. And 1 timeout. See if they can add to a 3-0 lead here. Coming up at the half, we'll take a look at the scoring recap. At this point, that'll be a short one. Look at all of your first half stats. I'm expecting we'll talk with Brandy Larita, Director of Athletics for the University of Findlay. They have been busy, as they always are. Cross-country meet last night that the Oilers were running. 1 to each side of the wideouts. Handoff, and kind of picking his way as Clark gets it out to the 25, just across. Give him the 26. Pickup of 4, 2nd and 6, and the Oilers don't seem to be in any hurry here. Clark goes out, Booker comes in. Keep Richardson split here to the near side, Flowers up top. Riggerman at the left end of the line is the tight end. Eubanks the blocking back up in front. Winsler from that pistol. Give to Booker. Booker finds a seam, drives it across the 30 to the 31. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 1. Lions will change out some personnel. Oilers in no hurry here. One wide out each direction on 3rd and 1. Handoff. And didn't get there. Got back to the 31, did Booker. And now the Lions will take the timeout with 55 seconds left, and the Oilers looking at a 4th and 1. Going to keep it here. Take a look at some of the team numbers here and how we got to this. Findlay with 10 first downs, 8 for Lindenwood. To this point, as we get the update. Meanwhile, talk about total plays. The Oilers have run 32 plays for 152 yards. Lindenwood 25 for 125. So teams running about the same on yardage, roughly right around 5 yards per play average is what they've been running here. And the Oilers, I don't know there's a whole lot of decision here. I think you punt this one away and take your best efforts. Also preview the schedule. This is the early game amongst the GMAC schools. Everybody else was playing at 1 or later. Well, the Oilers are going to line up to go here on 4th and 1. So Riverboat Rob shows up again, and now Lindenwood will take its final timeout, which makes it even more interesting as far as those things go. So let's just go ahead and make Brandy Larita work a little extra here, and we'll bring her in. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Anything for you. You just tell me what to do.
Okay, I've got a long list, and a lot of it involves checks. But I was just talking about a moment ago, you guys, as always, are busy. Last night it was cross-country on tap. Sounded like it was a fun event.
It was. Cross-country turned out well. I was a little worried. 5 inches of rain this week.
Right.
We were a little worried about the course, but Crest was a great host, and the course was in good shape. Not as soggy as I thought it would be. On cross-country and track and field staff did a great job organizing and making it a really seamless race. So very happy with the way that turned out. In preparation, we're hosting the conference cross-country meet next year. So kind of working out the tweaks, making sure that the course is right for that, that we'll host that in 22.
All right, ready to go. So Lindenwood had to burn their last time out because they were thinking the Oilers were going to punt it away, which I'll be honest, I was thinking the same. But the Oilers line up on 4th and 1. 2 to the near side, 1 up top. Back to the right. Pooch kick. Saw that coming. I just didn't want to give away the surprise. Going back and fielding it at his own 25 and then cut down right around the 30-yard line with 49 seconds left. It's been an interesting year football-wise. Of course, the Oilers were just out west in the Missouri area, and now a Missouri team comes back. Has scheduling become that difficult, that complicated these days to where you have to look farther outside your circle?
So we actually have a partnership with the GLBC.
Okay.
It's the conference that both this week's opponent and last week's opponent are in. So 2 games with them. That way each conference gets 2 guaranteed games.
Gotcha.
And it's really just a luck of the draw.
All right, so 2 to the top are the receivers, 2 to the near side. Back, Lindenwood. Brister forced from the pocket, running up the middle, lowers his shoulder. He'll be tackled shy of the first down. Remember, no timeouts left for them at this point. Colin Robertson, another nice tackle in space. 2nd and 2 coming up on 30 seconds. Snap, throw that middle screen to Sutherland. Sutherland is going to get the first down. That's going to stop the clock long enough to move the sticks. 24 seconds remaining. Michaud on the stop for Findlay. Right back at it is Lindenwood. 2 receivers each side. Quick little throw and a scamper out of bounds as he's complete to Fadul. Stops the clock with 19 seconds left, and here pretty quick, Brister's going to have to look a little farther down the field. Again, Findlay on top 3-0 after scoring a 27-yard field goal on the opening drive of the game, but since then the defenses have been stingy. 2 receivers each side, back. Brister throws the check down to Sutherland. He'll scamper out after about a 3-yard pickup. And now 14 seconds left. And the Oilers right now playing that umbrella coverage in the secondary. Just trying to keep it in front of them because without the timeout, if you can keep them in bounds, this will end the half. 2 receivers to each side. Brister back, looks, now he's going to throw the check down. Sutherland gets the first down, and then he's going to be forced out of bounds at the, well, he backed up on his own, so he's not going to get the first down. To try to get out of bounds, he had to backtrack. Sets up a 4th and 1 with 6 seconds left, and now we're going to see how many defensive backs the Oilers can put onto the field. And you can't blame them. And you're going to have 4 straight right across that goal line. They're going to rush 3 and then keep 4 intermediates. Oilers will take the timeout to talk it over to make sure they know what they want. And Rob Keys, I think, kind of interjected something in there.
In
with
NCAA
coordinator
Division
Thomas
II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Yeah. Good deal, because I know scheduling has been a bit of a bear over the last couple of years. So 3 to the right, single to the left. Pressure, Brister throws it across the middle, the drag, and brought down right about the Oiler 32, and certainly enough for the first down, but nowhere's close enough to make anything else happen. And the Oilers, Cade McCaskey with the tackle in space. And who would have thought, with the offense these two teams have been putting up this year, that we'd have a 3-0 halftime score? Not I. I've already lost my gentleman's agreement with Kyle Neerman, I think, but we'll talk more about that later. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout. When we come back, more with Director of Athletics, Brandy Larita. You're listening to Oiler Football on 88.3 WLFC.
Attention to the field where our Make-A-Wish child, Isaac, is with his family, Linnell, Alan, Molly, Claire, Elise, and Hayden. Isaac, who was diagnosed with in a safe environment granted. The camper is parked at the north end of the stadium for those wishing to see it. Isaac's primary treatment plan for this disorder is prevent disease progression through aggressive treatments of infections. Fans, please rise and give a huge round of applause for Isaac and the Oilers Marching Band presents selections from their first halftime show. College and high school bands across classic rock hit Immigration Song by Led Zeppelin, followed by the pop hit Fireball by Pitbull. Next, the marching band will play homage to the tradition of Broadway music and will conclude their performance today with the Broadway hit Jet Song from the internationally famous musical West Side Story. Fans, put your hands together for your Oilers marching band. All members of the Oiler bands are eligible for scholarships. Prospective students should reach out to Dr. Wes King for more information. All area high school students are invited to our High School Band Day event on October 23rd and join the Oiler Marching Band for a day of performances. All University of Findlay Band's alumni are invited to participate in our Homecoming Alumni Band on October 9th. Interested alumni should contact Dr. King.
Bring them out, bring them out, bring them out, bring them out. It's hard to yell when the barrel's in your mouth. Come on. Bring them out, bring them out, hey. Bring them out, bring them out, yeah. Bring them out, hey. Bring them out, VIP coming live from the VIP. Heard the nightlife, I was life what I need. Multi feds in the state, wanna see my need. The whole city got his hurt, he got 3. That other rapper got a hit, but shouted, he not out. Who take the city on 5 soon as he got 3? The king back now. Raw don't even know how to act now. Hit the club, strippers getting naked before I sat down. Still ballin', money stacked all in the shack now. Still push the button to let the roof on the back down. I'm on the road doing shows, put my Mac down. Mississippi to Philly, Albuquerque to Chat Town. Got the crowd yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. I'm a hot girl yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. All the dope boys yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Front the backstage yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Yeah, what up, some rapper hooded than this? I got rich and I'm still in a hooligan clique. You rapping by blow, I was moving the brick. Talk about shooting out and I was doing it quick. If I hit you in the face, you gon' be throwing me quick. Never catch another case, I know it's true to be missed. So I'ma keep a cool head, stay out of the news headlines, and show these other rappers it's bedtime. It's clear to see that I'm ahead of the time. I cop the chromed out, hard top the rail with the shine. I got some time, they ain't nothing like it's better with time. Who got them slow in a live show better than mine? I got a packed house yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. I'm a hot girl yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. All the dope boys yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Front the backstage yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. You wanna be for the team, what is you gon' do? When you show up on the scene, what is you gonna do? You and your friend and play a little 2-on-2. If you happen what I do, you be hitting the deck. I got the tool and the best, I can get some respect. I'ma make it hard for another sucker to flex. Show them it's like a score or a sucker to test. Man, I'm like too large and we way too fresh. Work well when you put the chicken lane like a game of chess. You wanna be better, bring your best. When you standing in your front yard yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. I'm a hot girl yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. All the dope boys yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Front the backstage yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Front yard yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. I'm a hot girl yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. All the dope boys yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Front the backstage yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out.
Defensively, Oilers being led with 8 total tackles. Jeremiah Jackson, 4 as well for Trombetti, 3 for Bransford. Shamar Watson with 3 as well. On the other side, Drew Sears, 8 tackles for him, 7 for Kai Ross out of that secondary, and 5 for Grady Daniels. It all adds up to a 3-0 Oiler lead. The Lions will receive the second half kickoff. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout. When we come back, we'll have that right here on 88.3 WLFC.
The American dream to me as an immigrant means having the opportunities that my parents didn't have. Being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed for me to get to this point. It was paying off.
Estoy muy orgulloso de Michael por haberse graduado de colegio.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not had a scholarship. It would just relieved a lot of the financial burden.
Okay.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student-athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student-athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student-athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity
Welcome
and make
back out
community
to
engagement
Donnell Stadium,
ours.
just about ready to get the second half underway. And as Coach Keys always talks about, halftime adjustments. Be interesting to see what adjustments both sides make. Both teams have showed the ability to move the ball, but both defenses have also shown the ability to come up with big plays when they need them to limit the other team's offense here. Some other scores in Division II. KWC up on William Jewell in the first, 7-0, and Ashland has the early lead halfway through that first, 7-0 over Quincy. As we try to keep you updated on others, this is the early game of the GMAC games. Everybody else got underway around 1 or a little bit later. As we said, the Lions receive the second half kickoff. They won the coin toss and deferred to the second half. Snyder will be kicking into a bit of a cross breeze. Back in the first half on the kickoff, we saw him blasted through the end zone, which was great to see, but that was with the wind at his back. This one kind of a cross breeze. They got 3 across that mid area there, the Lions. And he's going to go ahead and kick away. High kick, going to be fielded right about the 3. Takes it out to the top side, picks up a block across the 20, and then brought down right around the 25-yard line. They might give him the 26 on forward progress. Pretty good coverage by the Oilers. And that's where it's going to be 1st and 10. So Brister, we talked about it last time we had a fall season in the GLVC. He was the Offensive Player of the Year. The Oilers have limited him to 10 of 13, just 81 yards, and have managed to sack him once. Had a couple other chances. 2 to the near side, 1 up top. Play action fake, rolling out wide open here on the wing. And takes it across the 35, and they're going to say it is enough to the 37 for the first down. Gets up with a little hitch in his giddy-up, does Spencer Red. So he got kind of ripped down. So one play, a first down. Red has to run off late. He is in pain over there. 2 receivers to the left, single receiver to the right. Now bring a man across the formation. Brister back, throws to that motion man. That's his tight end, Sig. And he takes it out across the 40 to about the 40. Well, they're going to give him almost all the way to the 45. Watson on the stop. 2nd and 2. So that surgical passing game that we talked about, this is what the Lions are known for. 2 receivers up top. Sig in a slot. Now he'll motion across to that top side of the formation as well. The give to Sutherland. And again, the yardage has been hard to come by on the ground since that opening drive for the Lions. Going to be just shy of the first down at the 46. Needs his own 47 for the first down. See if Brister does this with his feet. 2 up top, 1 to the near side. Slot Sig. Checks off to the sideline, Will, the junior signal caller. Now he's ready to go. And he will keep it himself, and that's going to depend on the spot, and I don't think he got it. He tried to follow behind his big back, and the Oilers came in and slammed the door. And it's going to be 4th. They're going to call a no gain. And we will see if there's a little bit of a gamble here. Of course, they are 1 for 2, and they are going to go on 4th down here. Moves Sig across the formation. Rolling out, looking, throws, and wide open. Has a first down and a few extra for his trouble, was able to hook up with Fadul. So tip the hat to Coach Jed Stugart as he rolls the dice and comes up a winner on that one. Keeps the drive going, move the receiver from the inside here on the near side out to the top. Brister play action, pressure off the edge, steps up, lets it fly. Wide open is Fadul again, and the Oilers just all released him. Nobody decided to pick him up, and there wasn't anybody within 10 yards of Fadul, and he takes it all the way down to the Oiler 24, and thankfully that pass let him out of bounds. Otherwise, he probably would have taken it on in. Oilers on time, 3-0 here. Two to the right of the receivers, one to the left. Play action, now he's going to keep it. He looked out to the edge, wasn't much there, and then tucked it away. He's going to pick up about 3 for his trouble to the Oiler 21. Knocked down there. Basenji was in on the stop, and Irvin will come out and get a little breather here. Second and 7, send Rose, the single receiver, out to the left. Fadul and Gibbons out here on the near side. Back, has time, throws across the drag, touchdown Lions. And he hasn't thrown it much Peyton Rose's way this one, and the Oilers have done a pretty good job on him. But Rose made a nice move out of his break, had the inside position, and a perfect throw by Brister. And the Lions go from down 3 to up 3 with an extra point coming. Fadul, the holder, spots it down. The kick is up, and the kick is good. 10:57 left here in the third quarter. Lions take the lead, 7-3 over Findlay. Back in a moment on WLFC.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Welcome back. The kickoff fielded at the 1 by the Oilers. Avoids a man at the 10, pushes it across the 15 and out to the 17-yard line on the return that time. And on the return for the Oilers, I believe that was Farmer. Oilers with it 1st and 10 at their own 17 here. See what adjustments Corey Allen and the offensive coaching staff has made. We got 2 receivers to the right, single receiver to the left. Back to the left of Winsler. Play action. Now he's going to keep it. And he'll push forward for a pickup of a couple to the 19. Not sure if that was by design or if he just saw everybody was covered up and decided to get out of there. Second down and 8 coming up for Findlay. 2 receivers to the left, actually 3 receivers to the right, excuse me. Single receiver to the left. showing pressure on the near side. Rolls away from it, throws his check down. Complete. Richardson breaks the tackle and then pushes forward for the first down, out to about the 29. Good strength by Marlin. Show the strength there. Moves the sticks for the Oilers. So 1st and 10. A receiver to each side, a tight end on the left end of the line, blocking back up in front. The give, and that's Booker. And Booker across the 32 to the 33. Picks up 4. McClure on the stop for the Lions. Not before a 4-yard pickup. Change out backs, bring in Garrett Clark. Oilers will string 3 receivers to the right. Back to the right. Hand off Clark, and he finds a great seam at the initial, and now sort of a scrum over. Going to depend on the spot, but might have enough for the first down, and I think he does. Good job by his friends coming along. Garrett got it just shy, and then they sort of scrummed around him, and the additional push gets the nose of the football on the 40 for another Oiler first down. We talked about Winsler moving his way up. You talk about passing yardage. In this game, he's passed Clay Belton. And next up will be Verlon Reed. He's going to need about another 120 yards to do that. 2 to the top, 1 to the near side are the receivers. Hand off, that's Lynch. Lynch across the 45 and out to the 47. Good 7-yard pickup for the Oilers. Sets up a 2nd and 3. Clock continuing to move, coming up on 8 minutes left in the third. Oilers trail 7-3 to the Lions of Lindenwood. Oilers send 1 wide out to the near side, 2 out to the top. Pregame, the blocking tight end in the backfield. Give, finds a seam, pushes it to the outside, and Lynch just not quite able to break the secondary tackle along the sideline here, but a big gain has another Oiler first down well into Lindenwood territory at the 34. If he breaks that tackle by Beverly, he is off to the end zone, but a good open field tackle keeps it where we're at. 2 receivers to the right, single is Flowers on the left. Matt back looks, throws it out, and a little bit late getting it there. That was Watt, I think he was looking for out there, but it kind of floated on Matt a little bit, allowed the cornerback to recover and keep that from being complete. So 2nd and 10 for the Oilers. 2 to the right, 1 to the left are the receivers. Lynch in the backfield. Handoff, avoids a man in the backfield, and is going to have to fight just to get back to the line of scrimmage. Big push through that time. Tavian Weary, the one there to finally finish it off. But there was pressure right from the snap. So now the Oilers looking at 3rd and 10. And we talked about it. Most of that first half was played between the 30s between these two teams. As for both teams, most of the game as they've moved into the 30, both defenses have tightened up and stiffened up. And then we get a flag. What do we got? Illegal substitution is the preliminary signal. Nobody came across the numbers. And neither Corey Allen nor Rob Keyes agrees with it. And I'm with the coaching staff on that one. It looked like that all happened outside the numbers. But now it turns it into 3rd and 15 for the Oilers. Two receivers to each side for Winsler. Have Clark to his right. Back, has time, lets it fly, and had two receivers out there. Lynch had the longer route, and then I believe Brown underneath, or actually Richardson was the long route, and Brown underneath, and it kind of dropped between the two of them, incomplete. Now the Oilers on 4th and 15. I think they're going to set up here and then maybe have Winsler pooch again. As Clark to his right, two receivers to the right, one to the left. They'll drop a deep safety here just in case. And that is what they're going to do. They'll hang up a pooch. Fair catch is called, bobbled, and then brought down around the 13-yard line. And that's where Lindenwood will go back on offense, 1st and 10, leading at 7-3 with 6:04 left in the third. So here comes Lindenwood back out there. They were able to get that short passing game going there. Oilers forced them into a 4th down that they were able to convert and then turn it into the touchdown. And the give, Sutherland, he finds some running room, bounces it to the outside, 1st down yardage and more. Actually, that's Giamo. That's the first we've seen Giamo. He's a changeup on Sutherland, and he breaks off an 11-yard run there for a fresh set of downs. And then we've got training staff running on because one of the Oilers is in the offensive backfield in a prone situation here. And it looks like a cramp as he kicks up that leg and they try to push on the toes. 5:54 left here. As we said, the Oilers go back on the road next week, and they'll open up GMAC play at Lake Erie College. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff in the Garden Spot of the Northeast, Paynesville, Ohio. Then they'll be back here at Donnell Stadium for a matchup with Kentucky Wesleyan. That's a 4 o'clock kickoff on that one. And then it's back on the road at Ohio Dominican before returning on the 23rd against Hillsdale for a noon start. And up and walking it off. Is the Oiler in question. Having trouble seeing that number. I believe it's Grimes. And he appears to be okay. We'll probably see him back out there soon. 2 to the top, 2 to the near side. Handoff again. Giamo breaks the tackle and another 10, 11-yard ripoff. So we talked about how the Oilers had kind of figured out the running game. Well, the Lions have thrown a little bit of a change-up here with Giamo. Officials time and another Oiler down. This time, I can't see the number, we won't guess. But they're telling both sidelines to head over to get water and meet with their coaches. This could be a while. Let's go ahead and take a timeout. 5:38 left in the third. Oilers trail Lindenwood 7-3. Back in a moment on WLFC.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student-athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student-athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student-athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Welcome back out to Donnell Stadium, and out of that injury, they go play action to the lines. Tried going downfield, slightly underthrown, and it skips in. The officials correctly call that an incomplete pass as he was looking for Peyton Rose, who has the touchdown catch earlier in this third quarter. That'll bring up a 2nd and 10. Again, back to 2 receivers on each side, but Rose was open. He just got missed. Handoff, and again, Giamo with another 11-yard run. So tip your hat to the Lions for making the adjustment, but Giamo's going 7 yards before anybody's looking to touch him. So another first down. Giamo, a 5'8", 190-pound freshman out of Bartlett, Tennessee. 3 to the near side, single receiver up top. They'll give it to Giamo again. This time the Oilers rally around, force it back in. Basinji, the one who starts it back towards the middle. And then helping to clean it up for the Oilers was Charles Omame. Brings up a 2nd and 10, no gain. Two receivers to the left, single receiver to the right. Fake to Giamo, rolls out to the left. Now pressure coming back, breaks a tackle. He'll be ripped down after a short pickup. Oilers almost had him in the backfield for the sack, but still a good stop, limiting him to just 1 yard in a 3rd and 9 situation. Good coverage downfield that time for the Oilers. And good pressure up the middle. Never really gave Brister time to look down the field effectively. Jeremiah Jackson was the injured Oiler. He just got checked out on the sideline. I think it's something more in the shoulder area, the way he's rotating his arms. Looks to be okay. 2 receivers to the right, single on the top. Bring the tight end in motion from left to right. Brister looks out here in the flat, complete, and then turning it up for the first down. Peyton Rose with the catch. Grimes makes the stop. Well, actually, now they're going to say he spun. When he spun, he stepped out of bounds. He didn't get the forward progress, so 4th and 1 here. And 4th and 1 has not been particularly kind to Lindenwood. They keep Giamo in the backfield, 2 receivers to each side. Tried to get the Oilers to jump, no go. Now they're going to check off. Play clock is at 5. Gets it off. Back to pass, flushed. Oh, the Oilers miss him initially, but second effort's going to get him. Oilers had a chance in the backfield, just could not finish the deal, and he ends up diving across the 40 for the first down. And another injured Oiler down. And so Mame, let's hope he's okay. He gets up on all 4s, and now he's going to roll back over and lay down. They're going to check out his knee here. 2:45 left. And we talked about fourth down was not kind to Lindenwood, but here in the second half, they've been able to convert a couple of big fourth downs to keep drives alive, including this one. But our scoreboard still sitting at a humble 7-3 in favor of the Lions. This game was 68.5 points was the mark that they were looking at. And the Lions were a half-point favorite. Omame up, walking on his own, slowly, but he is on his own. We'll keep an eye on that situation. So tip your hat to Brister. Oilers made him uncomfortable back there, got a hand on him, not able to bring him down, and he's strong enough to get out and dive across the 40 for the first down. Knew where the stick was. Run Rose off late. Oh, that looked like an illegal substitution there. 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Hand off, and he gashes it up the middle, does Giamo. Cuts it back across the line. Going to be a foot race. Touchdown, Lions. Well, I'm not sure what the Lindenwood coaching staff was waiting for with Giamo. He has about 5 carries for now about 80 yards. 70 yards and a touchdown. And now the Lions in front by 10 with an extra point coming. So Fadul the holder. Snap back, spot is down, the kick is up, and the kick is good. 2:24 left in the third. Lions lead the Oilers 14-3. Back in a moment on WLFC.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balance.
Okay. Both those are in the second quarter. Okay. Welcome back out to Donnell Stadium. Lindenwood extends their lead 14-3 over the University of Findlay, preparing to kick it away. High, short spinner, fielded at the 5. Brings it out to the 15, upended. Ball came out, but I thought he looked like he was down. I thought the ball came out when he hit the ground. No signal from the official. Officials say it belongs to Lindenwood. In real time, it looked like what knocked the ball loose was him hitting the ground. But the officials saw it differently. And now Lindenwood right back to knocking on the door. Some other scores. KWC leads William Jewell 14-0 in the second. And Ashland 14-3, leaders of Quincy. That one also in the second. Well, we talked about Oilers come into this one at -1 on the turnover margin. And now make it -2. Two receivers to the right, one to the left. Brister, play action, rolling, looking, wants to go end zone, throws and overthrew it. Was looking for Rose, incomplete. A little too long, a little too high. Off his hands, incomplete. Oh, that's the nature there. After the turnover, you go for the big play. Sets him up 2nd and 10. Looks like Sutherland back in the backfield. 2 receivers to the right, single receiver to the left. The give. Started at left and cut it back in towards the middle. That's Sutherland. And then we get a whistle. Did they turn it over? Oilers were pointing initially. Now they've stopped pointing. About a 4-yard pickup, 3rd and 6. Trombetti on the stop for Findlay. Oilers have to hold this at best to a field goal opportunity. Still a lot of time left in this one, but they're already have 2 scores at least here. 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Back, quick throw, and not able to hold on. Oh, he did catch it. That's a heck of a catch. Sig, the tight end, I thought he missed it. Good coverage out there, dove in front, but it is just shy of the first down at the 10. They need to get inside the 10 to the 9. And you got a 4th and 1 situation. They're going to go empty backfield here. String 3 receivers to the right. Keep an eye on Giamo, who's in the slot. Quarterback's going to keep, 1st down. We talked about it. He has 6 rushing touchdowns. He takes this one to the 6, gets the 1st down. So 1st and goal situation for Lindenwood as we're getting ready to close out the 3rd quarter here. Omame got his helmet back on and is walking along the sidelines. Looks like he's ready to let the coaches know he's good. Play action, flushed. Now he's going to run, takes a pretty big hit at about the 3. Trombetti again. And that might be the last play of the 3rd quarter. And it will be. Lindenwood leads at 14-3. They'll be looking at 2nd and goal from the Oiler 3 when we return on 88.3 WLFC.
As a student athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experiences possible.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balancing out my academics and athletics. I decided to attend graduate school because I wanted to become an athletic director. Receiving the postgraduate scholarship through the NCAA provided me with the flexibility to choose the school that I wanted.
Slot the tight end on the near side. Quarterback's going to keep. Rushes, picks his way. Did he get in? Yes. A very delayed call here on the near side, but they say it, that he got it in for the touchdown. And again, we said he doesn't prefer to run, but he will do it on occasion. He has 6 rushing touchdowns, now make it 7. And he's also converted a couple of key 4th downs for the Lions here in the second half. 20-3 extra point attempt coming. Snap back, spot is down, the kick is up. And the kick is good. 14:56 left to end the game. Oilers trail 21-3. Back for the kickoff after this on WLFC.
We can stop to make sure someone is okay.
Get in the way and disrupt the situation.
Codify an authority.
Or walk them home safely.
We can change the language around rape.
We can make campuses safer for our teammates, our friends, and our classmates.
We cannot be bystanders.
Taking action isn't always easy, but it's on us
to intervene.
Because we can. Learn more and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back out to Donnell, where the Lions have scored 21 unanswered points here in the second half and lead it 21-3. Oilers will field the kick in the end zone, take the knee and take the touchback. And see what the Oiler offense can come up with here, and perhaps need to be a little more urgent as they'll start this drive at their 25. Two receivers to the right, single to the left. Winsler rolls, throws his check down, and was throwing that away as much as anything else at the feet of Derek Lynch. Brings up a 2nd and 10 for Findlay. McClure in the area with coverage. Puts it back to his left. Couple receivers to the right. That's the wide side of the field. Single receiver up top. Tried throwing the check down to Riggerman, who was kind of blanketed. Actually, there were two receivers in the neighborhood there. Do we have a flag? Yep, there are. There, I see it now at the 30-yard line. So pass interference against the Lions here. You're going to get McClure for being a little overly aggressive. And it's a first down for the Oilers. They need to move the sticks. Spot foul. But it does move the sticks. Give the Oilers a fresh set. Three receivers to the right. Single receiver up top. Playing way off the Oilers here. Throw it out, complete to Richardson, and he'll turn it up. And looks to have another Oiler first down at the 39-yard line. That'll move the sticks again. First and 10. Well, right now that's what the Lions are giving. They were playing a good 10 off there on that last play. So the old coaching adage, you take what they give you. Playing off a good 7-8 here out on the wide side. Handoff, and nothing there. Filling up the hole, short pickup. That was Clark on the carry. But linebackers filled quickly there. Second, you can call it 8 as they give him to the 41. Cluster of three receivers tight to the left side, single on the near side. Quick little throw out in the area to Flowers. Rubin with the catch just across the 45. Brings up a third and about 4. Lindenwood showing the one deep safety over the top here. Oilers string 3 receivers to the left. They'll play press coverage all the way across. 2 to the near side, 5 receivers set. Winsler delivers. Does he catch it? Yes, he does. Just across the midfield at the Lindenwood 49. Catch by Derek Lynch. Be 1st and 10 on the conversion. Riggerman checks into the lineup. Two receivers to the right, single receiver to the left, plus a slotted Riggerman. Throw the screen out, double pass, looking for Lynch, he's open, complete, 10, 5, touchdown Oilers. Looking and I don't see any yellow. You had to figure the Oilers were going to have to take a shot. Trailing by 18, and they take one there, and it pays off. As the double pass, the first one backward out to Lynch, and then the long ball, to Flowers, and then the long one to Lynch, who got in behind the secondary. And a good ball, good catch, and a good run. Extra point is up and good. And the Oilers have cut the deficit down to 11, 21-10. Back in a moment on WLFC.
We can stop to make sure someone is okay.
Get in the way and disrupt the situation.
Notify an authority.
Or walk them home safely.
We can change the language around rape.
We can make campuses safer for our teammates, our friends, and our classmates.
We cannot be bystanders.
Taking action isn't always easy, but it's on us
to intervene.
Because we can. Learn more and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back in the kickoff, fielded inside the 5 at about the 3, brought it to the middle, has a seam, hurdles a man across the 40 and out to the 42. Well, it looked like it was at the 42 where his knee struck down, and now they'll run out to that spot. Good return by the Lions there, and that was Andrew Martin on the return. Take a look at that last drive for the Oilers. 6 plays, 87 yards, took 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 49-yard touchdown pass from Flowers to Lynch. Now it's on the defense to get a 3-and-out or force a turnover here. Handoff turned up by Giamo. He takes it across the 45 to the 46. Pickup of 4. 2nd and 6. Bransford on the stop. Let's see how much the run is going to be featured here by the Lions. See if they try to shorten up this fourth quarter a little bit. 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Handoff again. Giamo, this time held to a 1-yard pickup. Mentioned Giamo earlier before those last 2 runs. 6 carries, 76 yards, including a touchdown scamper of 40. So certainly part of the game change here in the second half. But a big 3rd and 5 here for the Lions. And for that matter, for the Oilers. 3 to the left, single receiver to the right. Put the back on the hip of Brister's right. Oilers showing some pressure up the middle, and a little bit of movement is going to turn this into a 3rd and long. Got one of those big linemen. Got the right tackle, the freshman out of Normal, Illinois, Ethan Johnson. So now this becomes, go ahead and call it a full 3rd and 10. Two receivers left. Move the tight end across the formation to make it 2 receivers to each side. Straight drop, Brister throws. Caught. Tough catch, and Rose made it. The junior, his favorite target, he goes to him when he's in need. He had the touchdown earlier in this one. And this one all the way down to the Oiler 39-yard line. Pretty decent coverage in the area, to be honest. Made a slap at the ball, but Rose was too strong with it. Fresh set of downs for the Lions. 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Handoff, and not much there. 9:56 left in the second quarter. Ashland leads Quincy 21-9, and another GMAC score. It'll be good to see the Eagles again. We'll see them in the next to last week of the season here at Donnell Stadium before finishing up the season against Tiffin. Again here at Donnell Stadium. 2 receivers on the left, single on the right, 2nd and 11 after the short loss. Throw it to Giamo out of the backfield, and the Oilers, he's going to fight to get positive yardage out of it. He's strong. He's a load. Oilers had good pursuit out there, and he was just really strong. Watson on the stop. Run Logan Spire out there, change up some of that defense. Get some fresh legs in there, so to speak. Another 3rd and long here for Lindenwood. Oilers shuffle that defensive front. Show Michaud on the right end of the line. Now they'll shuffle back. And he'll go to the top of the formation and have Basinji on the right end. Straight drop. Delivers across the middle. Man, he threw that between 3 Oilers, and I don't mean in a bad way. I mean that he threaded a needle, and a perfect throw down to the 20 of the Oilers. And again, goes to Peyton Rose. Rose was kept pretty quiet in the first half, but he's certainly made his presence felt here in the second. We just clicked under 9 minutes remaining. Lindenwood with the 11-point advantage and the football at the Oiler 20. Two to the left, 1 to the right. Handoff, Giamo. And he's going to be stacked up and dropped for no gain, maybe even a small loss. Excellent pursuit by the Oilers that time, and a good tackle in space by Marquise Stokes. Stokes coming out of the secondary to make that play. Again, shuffle around some of that defense. Omame in there, McCluckey in there now. Right back to the line is Lindenwood. And they'll check off. Will Lindenwood to the sideline. 2nd and 10. Rolling, Brister, looks, throws late. Touchdown. He bought some time with his feet, got to the outside, and then coming free late was Fadul. Still pretty good coverage, but give credit to Brister there, because first off, he bought the time by rolling it out on his own to his right, and then delivered a strike on the move to where only Fadul could get to it. And the Lions answer right back. Siebert with the point after try is up and good on the line drive. 7:59 left, Lions 28, Oilers 10. Back in a moment on WLFC.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you?
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
Welcome back out. Kickoff following the Lindenwood touchdown. Fielded and scampered, kind of the momentum of the kick took him out of bounds. 13-yard line, so not the best of field position. That last scoring drive, a 20-yard touchdown pass from Brister to Fadul, caps off an 8-play, 58-yard drive that took 4 minutes and 20 seconds, gets us to our 28-10 score. And now the Oilers have to be in a little bit of a panic mode, perhaps, or I should say maybe not panic, but rather a little more urgent attack here. Throw back, good catch. Finds Clark out of the backfield there, picks up about 8 yards, maybe 9. Tough catch, nicely done by Garrett. Two to the near side, one up top. Back, throws the check down. And I think that was Clark again out of the backfield and got maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Brings up a 3rd and short. Back on either side of Winsler on 3rd and short with 2 wideouts to the near side, 1 to the top. Throws it and dropped. Then blown up from behind. That's a cheap shot. Oilers are going to get a free 15 out of this because not only did he hit him late and unnecessarily, he also led with the helmet. There's no other word for it other than a cheap shot, and he really ought to be ejected for targeting. But we'll see how the officials. The flag was thrown. I mean, definitely defenseless there, had no way of knowing. The ball was through his hands and on the ground when the defender came. So right now, the major focus is not so much on the penalty, but rather the injured player. And you've got multiple coaches, including Corey Allen, Rob Keys, Chad Wagner out there surrounding the situation and keeping an eye on the young man. Now the officials have finished their conference. And it is going to be the targeted. And they did eject. That is the appropriate call. So, but now the obviously concern swings all the way back to the injured Oiler player here. 6:55 left and still being tended to. We're going to take a quick 30-second time out here, give him some time. Again, Oilers trail 28-10. Back in a moment on WLFC.
As Division II student athletes, we are committed to being our best.
Division II National SAC is proud to partner with the Sports Science Institute to play a role in the cardiac safety and health of student athletes.
Although many student athletes with heart conditions live healthy, active lives, Up to 10 NCAA student athletes die each year of sudden cardiac death during athletic activities.
The facts are that immediate delivery of CPR and AED saves lives, so everyone should be CPR and AED trained. Please join us in this important initiative. Make it yours.
Why do you want to go to college? To become something more? To find your line and go beyond it? To make someone's life better? To start on a path to a productive career? That's why the University of Findlay is here. Since 1882, a community of passionate learners, inspiring the best in each other.
I knew that there was an opportunity to have my college paid for if I was good enough to play baseball at that level. That was going to make a big difference in my family. D2 baseball gave me an opportunity to play at a high level and to get an education that's going to be valuable for me throughout the rest of my life. I chose to take my experience of being a student athlete and pursue that within my career and to get a master's degree. If I wouldn't have had a baseball scholarship, there'd be no chance that I'm doing what I'm doing today.
We said the officials got the call right, so give credit to them as well. 15 yards, the first down, and the player in question was ejected. And obviously Garrett's going to head to the locker room, I would think, or at least over here to a training table to be further evaluated. Now we get back to the hard part, which is the game sometimes when you're worried about a teammate. The Oilers will go 3 receivers to the right, single to the left. Back is to the left of Winsler. Oilers trailing by 18. Back, steps up, delivers, great throw, and Flowers pulls it in across the midfield stripe at the 48. Beverly on the stop at the Oilers right back to the line of scrimmage. Again, 3 to the right, 1 to the left. Rolling to the 3 receiver side, throws it out, complete to Richardson, and he'll step out of bounds. Gets it to about the 40, brings up a second and about 2. Well, they're going to say run the clock, even though he took himself out of bounds. Back looks, pumps, throws, and led Marlin just a little too much. Talked about some of those other scores. Ashland leading Quincy 21-9. KWC 14-0 on William Jewell. Indy with a 9-7 lead on Ohio Dominican. That one with a minute 20 left in the second quarter, and McKendree and Walsh just recently kicked off. All part of those GLVC crossovers that Brandy was talking about during the half. Clock does stop on the incompletion. 6:28 left here. The reality is Oilers need 3 scores. Two to the left, 1 to the right. Give. Benson, not quite to the first down. Flag comes in late. And let's see what that's about. That's usually somebody said something they shouldn't have said or pushed somebody they shouldn't have pushed. Be curious to sort this one out. The All-American linebacker Sears on the stop. And the officials conferencing here. As we said, next week, Oilers go to Lake Erie, opening up GMAC play. So it is going to go against Lindenwood here. And I believe they said it's on the linebacker Little. So that puts the Oilers inside the 25 at the 24 of Lindenwood, and again, more importantly, the first down, but with the clock running, we'll always need the end zone and need it pretty quick here. Quick little throw to Riggerman, short pickup. Little on the stop. Benson the back to the left, throwing it out complete. Brown trying to get out of bounds. Gets the first down around the 12 of Lindenwood. First and 10. And they'll run the clock still now that the sticks are moved. The Oilers, Jacob Brown came back to the huddle and then went down and trying to, I think he got a cramp. He got kind of spun down kind of awkwardly. Other games in the GMAC next week. Ohio Dominican will be at Kentucky Wesleyan, and Hillsdale will be at number 12 Tiffin. On Thursday, special Thursday edition of GMAC football, it'll be Ashland at Walsh. So that's your schedule for next week in the GMAC. In 2 weeks, as we said, we'll be back here at Donnell Stadium, as the Oilers will have KWC in town. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that is homecoming for the University of Findlay. Brown with a noticeable limp coming off, but on his own power at least. So 2 to the right, 1 to the left are the receivers. It is a first down. Benson on the right of Winsler. Matt looking, end zone jump ball. Flowers, did he come down with it? No. Good coverage right there with him, and it was a hand battle all the way through the end zone. And just not able to hold on. 2nd and 10 from the 12, but really the Oilers need to score and score quick. Both teams have their full allotments of timeouts, but Oilers trailing by 3 scores here. Throw it up, jump ball, and that's going to be pass interference. Was trying to get with McLaughlin there, and McLaughlin got tied up. Come on. Come on. All right, we're back. Sorry, we had small technical difficulties there. Pass interference was the call. Then on first down, Oilers tried to throw one in the back corner, incomplete. On 2nd and goal, Winsler tried to take it in himself on the quarterback draw and stopped short at the 1. So now the Oilers looking at 3rd and goal from there. Clock still running, coming up on 5 minutes left. The give, dives, got into the end zone, touchdown. That's Booker. Got into the end zone. Kind of did a dive. His legs got took out, but he gets to the end zone. So the Oilers make it 28-16. And it looks like they're going to go for 2 here, which would make it a 10-point game. Brings the field goal back in to possibly tie it later with the make. Oilers are going to put it on the right side here. Benson checks in. Booker out. Going to put Richardson out to the left, along with Flowers. Benson's lined up on the right side here. Now he'll come in motion across, fake the give, roll out, throw, intercepted. Stepped out of bounds. So so the 2-point conversion will be no good there. Good step in front. So now the Oilers trail by 12. So now it's going to have to be a couple of touchdowns for the Oilers with 4:58 left. Going to keep it here. So the Oilers are going to have to, I don't know if you try the onside here or not, or you kick it away and see if your defense can't come up with something. Get some updates. Ashland leads Quincy 35-16 with just under 2 minutes left in the first half. They're at the half with KWC on top of William Jewell 14-0. Indy leads Ohio Dominican at the half 9-7. And Walsh with the early 7-0 lead with 4:21 left in the first quarter over McKendree. Take a look at some of these team numbers. Total offense, 62 plays, 404 yards for Lindenwood. Oilers, 60 plays, 320 yards. So Oiler offense starting to get back to where you want it to be. 169 yards passing for Findlay, 221 for the Lions, and rushing 183 for Lindenwood, 151 for Findlay. So the big difference right now is that turnover when the Oilers on the kickoff return turn it over deep in their own territory. Otherwise, we're talking about the Oilers probably kicked the extra point there, and this is a 21-17 game, and who knows. But that's how it went down. Oilers going to kick away, blasting it high through the end zone. So it switched to the other ends, and so bring it out to the 25, and there's no way around it. The defense needs, worst case scenario, a 3-and-out here, ideally a turnover. So here comes Lindenwood off their sideline. Oilers looking to the near side here. Got Basinji, Micho, Omame out there right now. Also Rockhold. They're going to have 3 receivers to the right, bring that inside receiver into the backfield. That's Giamo. He'll get the handoff, and he'll push the line. About a 3-yard pickup out to the 28, 2nd and 7, and it's an interesting situation for Lindenwood. All of the coaching things tell you run the football, run the football. And here in the second half, especially with Giamo, they've been able to. But for the most part, Oilers did a pretty good job against the run. And they've done most of their damage through the air, that controlled passing game. Clock running, 4:18, 2nd and 7. Move the tight end from the left to the right. Again, the give. And broke a tackle right at the point of attack and pushes it out to the 33. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 2. Giamo, he's a load. 5'8", 190-pounder, just a freshman. Oilers send in Josh Henderson, the 6'1", 345-pound D tackle. Let's see if they can't plug up that middle here. Again, 2 to the right, 1 to the left, but you got to think this is going to Giamo. Nope, quarterback's going to keep, tries bouncing it outside and does. 1st down and more. Well, they brought in the big body in the middle, and they played action like they were going into the middle. But Brister pulled it out and scampered around the outside, gets a fresh set of downs, and they can run this thing, depending on how the Oilers use timeouts, they can run it down close to a minute. And again, it's a 2-score advantage. One of those receivers who was blocking Fadul a little bit limpy getting off the field. Two to the right, two to the left. The give, Giamo. Stiff arm gets him around the corner, and he has close to another first down before stepping out of bounds. Probably out the only thing wrong he did there. They say it's enough for the first down. I'm not sure why they're winding the clock if he stepped out of bounds. I think the officials missed something there because the runner definitely didn't go down. Two to the right, two to the left are the receivers. Handoff, Giamo again. Short pickup, and then the Oilers will burn their first time out. Basenji on the stop. So the Oilers find themselves behind the 8 ball here after running off back-to-back wins. And they'll look to try to get back on the smiling side next week against Lake Erie up in Painesville. Always an adventure going to Painesville. It's a different kind of environment. And then we'll see them back here against Kentucky Wesleyan, a game the Oilers dominated a year ago down in Owensboro. And then they'll go on the road to Columbus to take on the Panthers of Ohio Dominican. Situation here, Lions lead it 28-16 over Findlay. They're looking at 2nd and 8. And Oilers have to be figuring a way to get this football back. Two to the left, one to the right. Play action. Brister rolls out, throws, complete for the first down. And then scampers back to the middle. Smart play by the receiver. And that's going to probably come pretty close to wrapping this up. Oilers do have 2 timeouts, but the fresh set of downs here. And the clock moving towards 2 minutes. Two to the left, one to the right. Takes the snap, handoff, Giamo. And he'll be brought down after a pickup of a few, gets it to the 22. Oilers will burn their second of their 3 timeouts with 1:42 remaining. Talked about that last drive for the Oilers. Puts Matt Winsler on that drive. 120 passing yards on the game. We mentioned earlier that pushed him past or raised him up past Clay Belton on the career passing totals. He's about 100 yards behind Verlin Reed for the 3rd spot there. And so we'll be keeping an eye on that on the coming weeks. And thanks to my producer-engineer, Ron Knopf, take a look at some scores. Ashland at the half, 35-16 leading Quincy. Still 14-0 KWC leading William Jewell at the half. They're at the half as well between Ohio Dominican and Indy, with the Greyhounds on top 9-7 in that one, and Walsh up 7-0 on McKendree with 4 minutes left in that first quarter there. So here comes Lindenwood. Two to the right, one to the left. Oh, bobbled the snap, loose on the turf, and just falling on it's going to be Brister, and he also took a pop in that process as well. Back at the 30. And are the Oilers burning their last time out? They will. We're going to take it with them. With 1:36 left, Oilers trail 28-16. Back in a moment on WLFC.
The American dream to me as an immigrant means having the opportunities that my parents didn't have. Being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed for me to get to this point. It was paying off.
Estoy muy orgulloso de Michael por haberse graduado de colegio.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not had a scholarship. It would just relieved a lot of the financial burden.
Have the Lions in a 3rd and 14 situation here, maybe getting the football back, but the Oilers out of timeouts here. We just got to call in on another score. BG late in the 4th, leading Minnesota 14-10. So Falcon fans, start crossing in your tail feathers and hope for the best in that one. 2 receivers to the right, single receiver to the left. That's Rose, who's been his go-to target in these kind of situations. Play action, he'll roll the opposite way, though, throw out in the flat, complete, and depending on the spot, I don't know. And the spot looks like it's enough for a first down. Fadul, he went the other way, and that is enough for a first down, and that's going to pretty much take care of things now. We'll see if we're hoping to have Coach Keys with us in the post game. We'll talk about things. We'll recap the scoring, take a look at the stats. And the victory formation for the Lions. And 1, maybe 2 more snaps here, depending on how the officials take their time. Of course, everybody's going to wait until the last couple of seconds here. Again, that victory formation for Brister. Still 8 seconds on the play clock. Now he'll go under center. Takes the knee, and that is it. Play clock is off. They don't have to run another play. And so give credit to the Lindenwood Lions. They make the long trip over here to Donnell Stadium and hang a 28-16 victory on the board. They'll improve to 2-2 on the season, and the Oilers will fall to 2-2 on the season and head back out on the road. 28-16 the final. We'll be back with the post-game report after this on 88.3 WLFC.
I knew that there was an opportunity to have my college paid for if I was good enough to play baseball at that level. That was going to make a big difference in my family. D2 baseball gave me an opportunity to play at a high level and to get an education that's going to be valuable for me throughout the rest of my life. I chose to take my experience of being a student athlete and pursue that within my career and to get a master's degree. If I wouldn't have had a baseball scholarship, there'd be no chance that I'm doing what I'm doing today.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
Why do you want to go to college? To become something more? To find your line and go beyond it? To make someone's life better? To start on a path to a productive career? That's why the University of Findlay is here. Since 1882, a community of passionate learners, inspiring the best in each other.
Welcome back out to Donnell Stadium. 28-16 the final score. Lindenwood over the University of Findlay. Let's take a look at our scoring recap. Oilers took the opening kickoff, went right down the field. 14 plays, 73 yards. Got a 27-yard Austin Snyder field goal to take the early 3-0 lead, and it stays that way throughout the second half. The Oilers would force a turnover on downs after a 4th and goal from the Oiler 1. Then they would drive back, but then they'd turn it over on a 4th down play later in that drive, and the majority of that first half was played between the two 30s. But then Lindenwood made some adjustments at the half. They take the opening kickoff of the third quarter, go right down the field, 8 plays, 74 yards, a 20-yard touchdown pass from Brister to Rose. The Siebert kick made it 7-3. And then they get the football back again. This time Giamo busts a 40-yard run. They capped off a 9-play, 86-yard drive and took just 3 minutes and 40 seconds off the clock, and they were up 14-3. And then the really turning point of this game, on the ensuing kickoff, the Oiler return man had the ball knocked loose while he was in the air. At least that's the way it was ruled. Lindenwood was able to recover. They cover the 18 yards in 6 plays, capped off with a 3-yard run by the quarterback Brister. The Siebert kick made it 21-3. Now the Oilers answered back, put together a 6-play, 87-yard drive, capped off with a little razzle-dazzle, a 49-yard pass from Flowers to Lynch. That was a double pass as it went from Winsler to Flowers, and then Flowers down to Lynch. Oilers went with the kick, and it was 21-10 at that point. But then Lindenwood able to answer right back on the ensuing drive. They put together an 8-play, 58-yard drive that took 4 minutes and 20 seconds. A 20-yard touchdown pass from Brister to Fadul. The kick by Siebert was good. It was 28-10. Oilers would come down, score another touchdown, get a 1-yard run by Booker to cap off a 13-play, 87-yard drive that they managed to accomplish in just 2 minutes and 59 seconds. Oilers decided to go for 2. And that pass was intercepted on the attempt into the end zone, and it failed. And then on the ensuing kickoff, Lindenwood able to run the ball down and then run out the remaining time on the clock, the remaining 4:58, and post the 28-16 victory. Take a look at some of the numbers first. The team numbers, 27-23 in favor of Lindenwood. Rushing yards, 45 carries for 200 for Lindenwood. Oilers a respectable 31 for 151. Passing yards, 253, and it was really surgical strikes most of the game by Lindenwood. 169 passing yards for Findlay on the other side. So total offense, 73 plays for 453 yards for the Lions. Oilers, 60 plays for 320. And Oilers came up with some stops on defense, just didn't have quite enough of them at the end of the day. Take a look at some of the other numbers. Of course, the one lost fumble hurt the Oilers in this one that we talked about. Time of possession belonged to Lindenwood. Most of the game it belonged to Findlay, but Lindenwood takes that 32-30 to 27-30. They were 5 of 12 on third down. Findlay just 4 of 9. And then probably the other bigger stat was 4 of 5 for Lindenwood on fourth down. The only one they missed on was that one on the opening drive where the Oilers got the stop at their own 1. Findlay 0 for 1 on fourth down. And that takes a look at some of those numbers. Individually, leading rusher for the Oilers was Josh Booker, 15 carries, 66 yards. Throw in another 36 for Lynch and 30 for Garrett Clark. On the other side, Robert Giamo, he didn't even see the field until the third quarter. 15 carries, 106 yards. He had a touchdown, a long run of 40. Sutherland added in a complimentary 14 carries for 56. He was another one of the game changers along with that fumble. We talked about the quarterbacks. Brister, a very workmanlike, 23 of 28, 253, a couple of touchdowns. Winsler, 16 of 28 for 120. Fadul and Rose, his two leading receivers for Brister, with 6 and 4 each, and 85 and 65. They had the 2 touchdown catches. Flowers had 4 catches for 31 yards. Lynch, 3 for 57 to help pace the Oilers. On the defensive side, Bransford was all over the place with 10 tackles, as was Trombetti and Jeremiah Jackson. Basinji, a strong effort with 7 tackles as well to help pace the Oiler defense. We're going to take another 2-minute timeout, see if we can get Coach up here. If not, we'll wrap things up. Again, the Oilers fall to Lindenwood 28-16. Back after this 2-minute timeout on WLFC.